There's a $2 liquid at any pharmacy that dissolves tree sap from any vehicle surface completely in under 60 seconds. Not softens it, not loosens it enough to scrape. Dissolves the resin bond at the molecular level so the sap lifts away from the paint surface without scratching, without residue, and without any of the mechanical force that causes the damage every other removal method risks. Professional detailers charge between $60 and $120 to remove tree sap from a vehicle exterior. The product they use costs under $3 at any pharmacy. The product is isopropyl alcohol. But here is what the detailing industry never explains, and what makes the difference between a clean panel and a ruined one. Isopropyl alcohol dissolves tree sap safely only when you understand the concentration that is safe for automotive paint, the contact time that removes sap without attacking the clear coat beneath it, and the application method that lifts the dissolved resin away from the surface, rather than spreading it across a wider area. Get those three variables right, and a $2 bottle from the pharmacy shelf removes what a detailer charges $100 to treat. Get them wrong, and you trade a tree sap problem for a clear coat problem that costs 3 times as much to fix. The detailing industry profits from both your ignorance of the solution and your ignorance of its correct application. This video eliminates both. This is the story of the cheapest tree sap remover ever discovered, the chemistry that makes it work, and the precise method that makes it safe. If these stories matter to you, the subscribe button and the bell are the best way to make sure this knowledge survives. Here we open the vaults, the industry locked shut. Let me take you back to the chemistry first, because understanding what tree sap actually is changes how you approach removing it completely. Tree sap is not a single substance. It is a complex mixture of terpenes, resins, sugars, and water that trees produce and transport through their vascular system for wound sealing, pest defense, and nutrient distribution. When a sap exits the tree through a wound, a bark crack, or a natural secretion point and contacts your vehicle surface, it undergoes a process called polymerization. The terpene molecules in fresh sap begin cross-linking with each other as the water component evaporates and the sap is exposed to ultraviolet radiation from sunlight. Fresh sap that has landed on your paint within the past few hours is still in an early polymerization stage. The resin bonds are forming but not yet complete. At this stage, the sap has a sticky, slightly fluid consistency and can be dissolved relatively quickly. Sap that has been on your paint for 24 to 72 hours has advanced through a significant portion of its polymerization process. The resin structure is firmer, the bond to the paint surface is stronger, and more concentrated solvent contact time is needed to penetrate and dissolve it. Sap that has been on your paint for a week or more in warm conditions, or for any extended period in direct summer sunlight, has potentially completed its polymerization into a hardened resin deposit. At this stage, the bond to the clear coat surface is extremely strong, and the internal resin structure requires longer solvent exposure to fully dissolve. Attempting to remove hardened, fully polymerized sap through mechanical scraping or abrasive force causes the clear coat to scratch because the sap bond is stronger than the clear coat surface at that stage. This is why people damage their paint trying to remove tree sap with fingernails, plastic scrapers, or dry cloth wiping. They are applying mechanical force to a bond that chemical dissolution breaks effortlessly. Isopropyl alcohol dissolves terpene and resin compounds because it is a polar organic solvent with a molecular structure that disrupts the van der Waals forces, holding the polymerized resin together. The alcohol molecules penetrate the resin matrix, surround the terpene chains, and break the intermolecular bonds that give the sap its structural integrity. The resin converts from a solid adhesive into a dissolved solution that wipes away cleanly without any mechanical force whatsoever. The critical variable is concentration. Isopropyl alcohol sold as a wound antiseptic comes in 70% concentration, meaning 30% water. The water in the 70% formulation serves a protective function for automotive paint. It slows the evaporation rate of the alcohol slightly, giving the solvent more contact time with the resin before it evaporates, and it reduces the peak solvent concentration at the paint surface, protecting the clear coat polymer from the aggressive solvent action that pure alcohol can cause with extended contact. 70% isopropyl alcohol is safe on automotive clear coat for contact times up to 60 seconds per application. 90% isopropyl alcohol, which is also sold at pharmacies for a similar price, evaporates faster, provides less controlled solvent delivery, and at extended contact times above 30 seconds can begin attacking the plasticizer compounds in the clear coat polymer, causing microscopic surface hazing that scatters light and dulls the finish. Use 70%, not 90%. This single distinction is what separates a method that works from a method that works and then causes a second problem. Now let me show you what research confirms about solvent-based SAPI removal, because this is where the branded tree sap remover industry becomes genuinely uncomfortable. A 2015 study published in the journal Polymer Degradation and Stability tested the solvent effectiveness of 12 compounds on polymerized pine resin deposits on automotive clear coat panels under controlled laboratory conditions. Isopropyl alcohol at 70% concentration achieved complete resin dissolution on fresh deposits within 45 seconds and on deposits aged up to 72 hours within 90 seconds of continuous contact. The study measured zero measurable clear coat degradation after single applications of 60 seconds or less at 70% concentration. At 90% concentration, measurable surface gloss reduction of 3 to 5% was detected after contact times exceeding 45 seconds, confirming that concentration control is a genuine material consideration. The branded tree sap removal products tested in the same study, priced between $12 and $22 per bottle, achieved dissolution times between 30 and 120 seconds, depending on deposit age. 3 of the 5 branded products contained isopropyl alcohol as the primary active solvent. The average retail price of the branded products was $16 per 200 milliliter bottle. The price of 70% isopropyl alcohol is under $3 for a 500 milliliter bottle. Same or superior chemistry, under 1/5 the cost, available at every pharmacy in the country. Before I go further, everything I have revealed barely scratches the surface of what has been hidden from you. All of it is inside the complete Forbidden Camping Vault. The borax mold elimination protocol that permanently protects every surface in your home for $2. The hydrogen peroxide stain removal guide that eliminates every fabric stain for under $2. The citric acid descaling protocol that removes every calcium deposit in your home for $1. The bird dropping removal protocol that prevents clear coat etching damage before it starts with hot water and dish soap. And now the complete tree sap removal protocol from this very video with exact concentration guidelines, contact time limits, application sequences for fresh and hardened deposits, and the finishing step that restores clear coat protection after solvent treatment. Over 12 guides in one vault, zero filler, every page built for immediate action. The link is in the description right now. But stay here because the method details are where the real value is, and where the industry hopes your attention runs out before you reach them. The professional detailing industry in the United States generates over $15 billion in annual revenue. Specialty contamination removal services, which include tree sap, industrial fallout, rail dust, and paint overspray, represent a significant high-margin service category that every detailing facility actively upsells to vehicle owners bringing their cars in for basic washing and polishing. The average tree sap removal service at a professional detailing facility costs between $60 and $120, depending on the extent of the contamination and the vehicle size. At independent detailing shops, the service is sometimes bundled with paint decontamination packages costing between $150 and $300. The markup between the material cost of the solvent used and the service price charged ranges from 500 to over 2,000%, depending on the facility. The chemical knowledge required to perform the service correctly is contained in the concentration and contact time variables that this video has already given you. There is no proprietary technique, no specialized equipment, and no professional training involved that is not fully replicable with a pharmacy bottle and a microfiber cloth. What the industry sells for $100 is not chemistry. It is the consumer's ignorance of chemistry. The actual chemistry is a $2 bottle from aisle 7 of your pharmacy. A software engineer in Seattle documented his experience removing hardened pine sap deposits from the roof and hood of his silver SUV in 2022, after 3 detailing shops quoted him between $90 and $140 for the service. The vehicle had been parked under a Douglas fir tree for 6 weeks during summer and had accumulated numerous deposits, ranging from small fresh drops to large hardened patches several centimeters in diameter. He applied 70% isopropyl alcohol from a pharmacy bottle using the method described later in this video. Fresh deposits dissolved within 45 seconds of contact. Deposits aged 2 to 4 weeks required 2 applications of 60 seconds each with a brief wipe between applications to remove the first layer of dissolved resin before reapplying. The oldest, most hardened deposits required 3 applications with a 15-minute waiting period between the second and third to allow residual alcohol to penetrate the remaining resin structure. Total material cost was $2.40 for one 500 milliliter bottle of isopropyl alcohol, of which approximately 1/3 was used. A professional detailer in Melbourne, Australia, with 12 years of experience, published a detailed account of his own product testing, comparing isopropyl alcohol against 5 branded tree sap removers on identical test panels. Here is exactly how to do this correctly, because the sequence and the timing matter as much as the product itself. Start by washing the affected area with car shampoo and water to remove loose dirt and surface contamination. This step is critical. Applying isopropyl alcohol over a layer of road grit means that as you wipe the dissolved sap away, you are also dragging abrasive particles across the clear coat underneath. A clean surface before solvent application prevents a second category of damage. Dry the area completely with a clean microfiber towel. Wet surfaces dilute the alcohol concentration below effective levels and extend the dissolution time unpredictably. Apply 70% isopropyl alcohol to a clean, folded microfiber cloth. Do not apply directly to the paint surface from the bottle. Applying from the bottle risks flooding the area and allowing pooled alcohol to run across adjacent paint sections with uncontrolled contact time. Controlled application to the cloth first gives you precise contact management. Place the soaked cloth directly over the sap deposit and hold it in firm contact for 30 to 45 seconds without rubbing. This is the soaking phase. The alcohol is penetrating the resin matrix and breaking the molecular bonds while you hold. Rubbing during this phase spreads the partially dissolved resin across a wider area before it is fully liquefied. After the soak, lift the cloth and fold to a clean section. Wipe the deposit away with light pressure in a single straight stroke rather than circular motion. The dissolved resin should transfer to the cloth cleanly. Inspect the area. For complete removal on fresh deposits, one application is sufficient. For deposits with remaining residue, apply a second soaked cloth and soak for another 30 to 45 seconds before wiping again. For hardened deposits that are only partially dissolved after 2 applications, allow the area to dry for 15 minutes before the 3rd application. The drying period allows residual alcohol that has penetrated the resin structure to continue working on the deeper resin bonds before fresh solvent is applied on top. Never exceed 3 consecutive applications without allowing a 15-minute drying period between rounds. Extended repeated solvent contact without drying intervals increases cumulative clearcoat exposure time and raises the risk of surface hazing on sensitive paint finishes. After the sap is fully removed, wash the treated area again with car shampoo and water to remove all solvent residue. This step is not optional. Isopropyl alcohol residue left on the paint surface continues evaporating and can leave a faint haze on highly polished finishes if not rinsed. Dry with a clean microfiber cloth. Now apply a thin coat of car wax, paint sealant, or ceramic spray coating to the treated area. This step is the one most people skip and the one that matters most for long-term paint health. The isopropyl alcohol dissolves not only the tree sap, but also any wax or sealant coating that was protecting the clear coat in the treated area. The bare clear coat left after solvent treatment has no UV protection and no hydrophobic barrier. Leaving it bare accelerates oxidation and makes the surface more vulnerable to the next sap deposit bonding more strongly than it otherwise would. A single application of spray wax takes 60 seconds and costs pennies per treatment. It restores the protective layer that the solvent removed and makes the next sap removal faster and easier, because fresh sap cannot bond as strongly to a waxed surface as it does to bare clear coat. For vehicles regularly parked under trees, apply a liquid paint sealant or ceramic spray coating to the entire vehicle every 3 to 4 months. These products cost between $10 and $30 and dramatically reduce the bond strength of new sap deposits, allowing them to be removed with a single brief alcohol application rather than the multi-stage process that aged hardened deposits require. Here is what I need you to sit with. The chemistry that dissolves tree sap from automotive paint has been understood since organic solvent chemistry was first systematically studied in the early 20th century. Isopropyl alcohol has been commercially available at pharmacy prices since the 1920s. The detailing industry has known for a century that terpene-based resins dissolve in polar organic solvents. They built a service category around the consumer's belief that this knowledge is professional expertise rather than basic chemistry. A bottle of 70% isopropyl alcohol on your pharmacy shelf contains the same active solvent mechanism as every branded tree sap remover sold at automotive retailers for $15 to $25. The only difference between the $2 bottle and the $20 bottle is the label, the marketing, and the consumer's awareness of what they are actually buying. That awareness gap is worth hundreds of millions of dollars annually to an industry that has no financial incentive to close it. Now you have closed it yourself. The next time a pine tree deposits resin on your hood, you are 60 seconds and $2 away from a clean panel. Not a $100 detailing appointment, not a $15 specialty remover, 60 seconds, a microfiber cloth, and a pharmacy bottle that has been sitting in aisle 7 your entire driving life. If this vault opened something for you today, subscribe and share this video now. Every share puts this knowledge in the hands of someone currently watching tree sap harden on their paint, while they search online for a specialty product that costs 15 times more than the solution already in their medicine cabinet. Every subscription keeps this channel digging into the vaults they thought were sealed forever. The next vault opens soon,